So really, intelligentsia, I think, is just a very important part of the story, and about your career and how you got to the Meteor. And I will share. We moved to Austin 3 years ago, and I'm an avid cyclist. I've gotten my wife into it, and we landed in a neighborhood that's a mile away from the Meteor here in Austin, off South Congress. And the Meteor is a very special place. A big reason is it's cycling themed. So if you're a cyclist, you go in there and you notice that the table numbers are cyclists, sort of, racer cards, or whatever. And there's merch that's cycling themed. But also the cafe itself is just so welcoming, and like we were talking about, with Austin, it has a community atmosphere. And then sure enough, when weather permitting and it's not 110 outside, it's got a great big beer garden in the back where you just run into people, you run into friends all the time. So really the next segment here, I want to ask you, we mentioned Intelligentsia sold to Pete's, and Pete's holding company, I guess, was it 2020 or
2015?
Okay, all right, I was way off. So 2015, how did you end up deciding to launch the Meteor? What was the inspiration for that? How did that come about?
Well, I think that my business partner, who is, I like to say, now I call him a recovering attorney.
Okay.
We race bikes together in Chicago.
Okay.
And we had taken some.
So this was during the Intelligentsia days when you got back into riding, or?
So I mean, we sold in 2015, but it was a deal that kind of stretched out for another
few years.
Yes,
couple years.
Another
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
And it it wrapped up in its totality. What year are we in? Last May.
Okay.
A year ago, May.
A lot of overlap.
2022.
Yeah.
So, we would do these epic rides kind of in November typically. It was a ride from Boston to Brooklyn or
I've never even heard of anyone doing that. I've heard of
but
LA and San Francisco,
but those are really fun. I mean,
okay, cool.
You hit the Bronx. You're like, oh, we're almost there. You're
right.
not. You're not. Anyway, some really wonderful rides, and we'd finish off these rides with a bottle of some champagne from some local liquor store, and etc.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd think, oh, isn't this great? And we got to talking, and my business partner is Chris St. Peter. He didn't love his job. He was I'm sure he was good at it as a lawyer. And I said, shit, we should do something. Let's try and put something together that considers these things that we dig, which are bicycles, and at that time coffee, great wine, and the food piece. From the very beginning, I'd say we weren't considering it as much. We just didn't know what we didn't know. And fleshing out the whole food offering piece was something that came a bit later.
Mm-hmm. And the year we're talking around 2016, 2017.
Yeah, that's right. That's
okay.
right. Yeah. Let's see. Through a series of events, I was ending up in Arkansas to also start Allied Cycle Works.
Okay.
Which when I co-founded that, and the premise there was to manufacture really good quality bicycles in the United States, carbon fiber bicycles, and that landed me in Little Rock for various reasons. Mm-hmm. And so we did a version of the Meteor there that was more just the coffee and bikes, etc., which you had seen in some places, and we did it for a couple of years. It really didn't work that well because, I think we misjudged the market. What could happen, what was possible, etc.
There just wasn't demand for what you guys were doing in Little Rock.
Not exactly. For whatever reason.
Okay.
I think that maybe timing wasn't right, maybe whatever it was. So we then moved those operations kind of simultaneously to Northwest Arkansas to open there, and at about the same time, I had moved to Austin. Because I like the riding here, I like the scene here, a bunch of other things. No state income tax.
Yeah.
All those things.
Yeah. And was Austin sort of put on your radar because you were in Little Rock and it was kind of striking distance, or
no?
How did Austin get on your radar?
I passed through here a bunch of times.
Okay.
Sort of on many different occasions.
One of my questions was going to be, at SOPAR we talked about Milwaukee growing up. We talked about Chicago, obviously.
Right.
I think you lived in LA for a little bit.
Yeah, a long time ago, right?
Right,
Yeah,
SF for a little
bit. Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Right.
And then Little Rock, and then Austin.
Yeah, and this has been your home for the last 8 years.
Yeah, on and off, but yeah, I'd say 8.
So yeah, I think it's just interesting that you chose Austin, and it sounds like we've already discussed this a little bit. It was the vibe. It was.
Yeah, I mean, it has a really wonderful spirit that offers. And it's funny. I was actually, surprisingly, I was at the Meteor yesterday talking to a couple of guys from the UK, and one of them said, it feels like it's a global city, but it's still easy to get around.
It's got a town feel to it.
Right.
You'll run into friends.
I think that this summer has been particularly hot and brutal. I stopped in at Whole Foods I live in East Austin, and then was at the Brew and Brew.
Yeah, across the street.
Wonderful place, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, Austin is great. It's just like people are sitting there smiling, or working away or chatting. Like, happiness is pervasive here.
Yeah.
You can have the heat, and we can complain about that, but in general, it's a very low judgment, open place that. The cycling culture here is, you can be rolling with CEO of a tech company, Volvo mechanic, artist, musician.
Folks aren't talking about their work all that much.
And everyone, and if they're talking about it's kind of how does it relate? Oh, that's fascinating. So I just think it's a pretty class stratification seems to exist less here than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
It's very open in that regard and accepting.
I was just listening to another podcast called Austin Next, and the host and the guests were talking about that specifically, that openness, sort of attracting entrepreneurial types.
Yes, and I think it I know a few folks that have moved from Los Angeles, and it's almost like they can't believe it. They can't believe, like, one guy does apartments, the other guy had something to do with film, and they're just like, everyone's cheering for the other guy.
Yeah.
And they're not accustomed.
Hear that
to
all the time.
They're not like, oh, I win, you lose.
Or gatekeepers.
Yeah,
right.
They're not. They're like, no, call this guy.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, great. And that's
there's enough to go around.
That's what everyone
in
does.
LA, things are picked over.
I don't know. I don't know, or if it's just how it's considered. So I think that my experience in everything is if it's rolling for it rolls for more people. It goes better for more people if you're open about those things. So I think people are comfortable with the premise of, like, let's do great work and compete, and, like, let's go.
Yeah.
So I think that is the prevailing spirit here, and I think I like it. I've always liked it. It's always felt like that. It's always felt a little, like, charmingly kooky. You roll across the Congress Street Bridge on Christmas Day, and, like, Santa's riding across on a horse.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is great.
Yeah.
Like, on the street, horse, Santa, I'm in. Like,
or Santa's riding across the street on a horse in July.
Yes.
You see that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's just that thing is it's very accepting, and I dig it. It makes it easy to live here, and it makes it's 12 minutes from here to there, unless you go from far South Austin to far North Austin. So I very much enjoy that, and I don't think it's some of the conversations, and I probably said this to you. I grew up in the upper Midwest, and that was like the first question is like, what's your job?
Yeah.
And then, like, where did you just go on vacation?
Where'd you go to college?
Where'd you go to college?
Right.
Where's the other house? Like, oh, that doesn't, it's almost like people are trying, I don't know if they're trying to avoid that here, but it just is.
It's not part of it.
It's not that much a part of it.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoy. So anyway, the Meteor in Austin, I think that it's really the perfect place for us to be headquartered, because the premise of what the Meteor is and you were saying, how do we get here? So we said, let's do something that incorporates these things that we love, and I rode by what was a dilapidated convenience store on South Congress, kind of the northern end of South Congress, and I was like, oh, this could be cool, right? And anyway, called and we put it together so we could build it there, and it turned out to be a great spot. It wasn't in the.
I kind of assumed it was garage. I didn't realize it was a convenience store.
I mean, I could show you. It's kind of it was one of those convenience stores with the bulletproof whatever,
Yep.
and sold a lot of lottery tickets and Ripple.
Yeah.
So it was it was when that zip code was changing,
Right.
So, and I think that we decided we needed to have a better food element.
And are we talking 2019 opening or?
We opened in right. It'll be 4 years this October.
Okay.
Yeah. So we opened 6 months before the pandemic, which was could have seen that coming. So we and then there was also a bit of serendipity because we were trying to consider what we want. We wanted to do more with food, and there was a guy who I knew from a really cool Mediterranean bakery deli down the street from where I lived in Cambridge, and he was moving to Austin. Andrew Worth, who he's part of our core team,
Mm-hmm.
and he was leaving this place called Sofra, which is this wonderful place in Cambridge, and then we bumped into him. Chris and I bumped into him coming out of Laundrette, however many years ago.
Yeah.
And we were like,
great Austin restaurant, Laundrette.
Want to do something? And, and he was like, yeah. So, and so it began.
Yeah.
So, we had the luck of, again, some more kind of serendipitous, serendipity, however, serendipitous occasion. So, we cobbled the pieces together of, a really wonderful organic biodynamic wine shop with, and then at the very beginning, we didn't have much space for the bicycles. The cool little boutique bike shop finally got open in July of 2020.
Yeah.
Right? So, but we always started with a lot of wine, and we wanted the food to be good and have great coffee in the morning. With the breakfast tacos, actually we didn't have at the beginning. We had those, so a lot of it's been this learning experience, and we always chuckle that.
And by the way, just to pay you a compliment, the food is delicious and it's consistent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we've been working hard on making that happen. So I'm accused of being
great baked goods.
A perfectionist about that stuff, and it's just again it's finding the right people that dig it, and we are highly critical of what we do, and we always want to be better. And I think the premise was to create a place that had unfussy service, counter service, where you could get a great salad. And then I can't even tell you I don't even remember what the menu was when we opened, but now it's really wonderful sourdough crust pizza. And then we were trying to do Roman style pizza, which was hard, and people didn't quite understand what we wanted to do. So anyway, now it's really wonderful sourdough crust pizza, great like Wagyu beef burger. We do our
focaccia sandwich.
Yeah, we do
falafel focaccia sandwich.
Well, actually, that's no longer on the menu. Now it's gone to a real falafel wrap.
Okay, all right. Well, that's okay.
So we still have the falafel. So it's just it's always evolving, and that's something that we did at Intelligentsia, which is like if it's it's the whole like if it's not broke, like, but we want to keep evolving.
Yeah.
So we want to keep finding something, the next better thing.
So Meteor, and it was fairly successful pretty quick. Like with COVID, how to.
So the thing that really I think changed our trajectory, and again was a bit of good luck, was that COVID hit, and right then we just because at the beginning we had prices on our bottles that if you stayed here and drank it, it was higher than if you took it to go.
Right.
Okay. So what we decided when COVID hit was like, all right, let's scratch that. All the same price, no corkage fee if you wanted to stay. I mean, people were sitting outside, and Austin weathered the pandemic, I think, better than.
I was going to say it's a good place to be if you're going to be in the pandemic.
Yeah, way better than Los Angeles or San Francisco or New York. So it wasn't
by a lot.
By a lot. It didn't seem scary, and you could spend time outdoors. So that transformed what we could do with wine. That people were like, wow, So it wasn't.
People needed wine at that time.
People were drinking some wine then.
Yeah.
But still, the idea that you could get a great bottle for $25 with no
natural
fee.
wine too. Yeah.
So that was transformative in regard to wine, and I think that I have to say, I think our coffee has been really great from the start, but that's, part of the DNA.
Yeah.
And then the food we've continued to make better and better and better. And the bike shop has really found its feet. We've got
And shout out to the bike shop.
Yeah.
I mean, John takes care of me, and just everyone in there is great. So yeah.
We have great folks in cafe and bike shop, and it's really and folks that also are frankly are usually cycling enthusiasts or dig the active lifestyle and the wine or the food. So they're not just bodies. And
Yeah.
I think that's the piece that has. We want to have great folks and reward them and create opportunities for them, which is, one of my favorite things about Intelligentsia is, it started as this humble coffee bar roasting coffee, and it went on to be something that,
Schooled a lot of people.
Well, people raised families and sent their kids to college and all.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, which to me is just so cool to have that happen, because it's evidence that if you have a good idea and you can keep going and do good work, that good things can happen. But sometimes it's hard to realize that.
And is there anything, either philosophy or actual perks or benefits that you offer the employees that is special or different?
I wouldn't, nothing, I could lie and say, it's not nothing outlandish, but we have healthcare.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot.
That we contribute to. And,
Yes.
And then, we, employee meals and we want to see people on bikes. So I think it's going to become all of that. You do need to be able to get your business to a certain size so you can actually
offer that.
Yeah. So I think that to answer that question is we want to make it as benefit rich as we can as it continues to grow.
Yeah.
I think that this isn't, and I will say this with absolute clear conscience, this isn't just a vehicle for me to be successful. We want to grow and create opportunity for more people, and that's part of why we don't want that. It's not just going to be a 3 locations.
Yeah.
It's going to continue to grow. We want to create more opportunity for the people that are doing great work.
Yeah, and I asked that question because I've noticed folks have stayed around. I mean, they've really stayed with you.
Yeah, I mean, we have some, we have some folks that have been around since the beginning.
Yeah,
right? And that's rewarding to see. And other folks have gone their own way,
done their thing. Yeah.
And I think that's bound to happen. And the goal has always been to create a culture that is inclusive and values contribution. Not every idea is great.
Yeah.
And including mine.
Yeah.
So we want contribution. We ask for it. We want, we are entrepreneurial. So we do want folks that can solve problems
and are feeling bought in and want to contribute.
And we don't want to have a business that's just like, what do the people at the top of the organization say? Let's wait for that to happen. And we want folks that are capable of helping us drive the whole thing forward and create more opportunity. So that was always the premise at Intelligentsia, and that's the premise at the Meteor. We want to create something that's lasting, and we want to create something that provides opportunity to contribute and creates possibility for more than a couple people.
Right. So you have a lot of plans for the Meteor as far as expansion.
Yes.
And so taking kind of a step back, the second location is in Bentonville, Arkansas.
That's right.
And as I think most of the cyclists listening know, Bentonville's home of Walmart and the Walton, I guess the heirs, a couple of them are very avid cyclists. Has there been partnership with them in your bike company or in the Meteor?
They are a partner in Allied Cycle Works. Yes.
Okay.
Not in the Meteor.
Okay.
But they're involved in some of the real estate in
Bentonville, right.
So that was, when that was first built, we were suspicious that it would work, and we were wrong. So it really has. I mean, it's really the investment there.
You were suspicious that it might not work, and then it worked out. Yeah.
Yes. So the investment there I think when they first said, "Oh, we can do this, and it'll be this. We can do it for this little." And what do you think? And we're like, "Okay," a little nervous, but boy, was I wrong.
And they incentivized you and made it clear that
they made it a very attractive deal.
Right.
So, but if you've gone there, the investment in the trail system, culture, everything, it's amazing. It's ridiculous. So you can say whatever you want about whatever you want, but the investment in building a cycling culture and opportunity there is true.
Yeah, they're putting their money where their mouth is, and
sure.
they wanted to make you a part of it.
For sure.
Yeah.
So that is, you go there and it's like going to a ski town, but it's for cycling.
Yeah.
It's the trails, and there's a couple of glorious museums, and there's good food there, and all of that stuff. And you look at an Airbnb ad, and it's like at the trailhead or at the whatever, and it's this many minutes to the trailhead, or this, so. Yeah. All of that stuff is really, and the gravel riding and the events that are put on. And
when did you guys open in Bentonville?
I want to say like February of right before the pandemic.
Oh, it was okay. I didn't realize it was right after the Meteor here.
Yeah, shortly after.
Yeah.
So I don't remember the exact date, but I want to say it was the end of February. So right before the pandemic.
Whew.
So.
And by the way, I just visited that cafe in Bentonville for the first time. Didn't get to ride my bike, but it is something else. I mean, it's a beautiful build out, and clearly everything is custom. And I guess there's not only the bike shop, but kind of an allied, a lot of really nice allied bikes for showcasing there.
Yeah. So I think it's it's putting the elements of what Northwest Arkansas is offering for bikes. It's in one place. It's gone well. I mean, it took some time, but it's gone well. And I think the part that's also gratifying is that you can sit at the Meteor in Austin on Thursday and get on a plane and be in Bentonville on Saturday. And the person you saw ride by in Austin on Thursday is in Bentonville on Saturday.
Right.
So the community that's being built and these dots that are being connected, it even frankly, it surprises me.
Yeah. And and Breakfast Club did an event in Bentonville and brought a few folks to tour and
so
check
it
out.
The connecting of those, to sound cliche, the connecting of those dots, and honestly, with opening Dallas, I think it will be even more so.
So tell us about Dallas, yeah.
And Fayetteville too. I mean, we just soft opening in Dallas in the Design District, and it's with a partner called Irby that does really cool luxury apartments. And we're in the ground floor. It serves the tenants, but then it's also open to the public. And it's right. It abuts the trail, the Loop Dallas that goes around.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that.
Goes around the city.
Cool.
So it's a great spot, and we'll have a cool little bike shop that'll probably be ready in the middle of September. But the cafe piece is now up and slowly running and beginning to run faster. So forgive us if you go out right after this podcast. I don't know when this is going to be broadcast, but
it'll be. We'll have some time. It'll be a little while.
Yeah. So that was another bit of serendipity that somebody had found us and liked what we did, and gave us an opportunity there. So I think that it's another great market for cycling. There's bigger cities have it, and there's always people that ride, and it's the thing that's distinctive about it that to me is really different is that a restaurant can have a location in Austin and one in Houston or Dallas, and you don't go. I mean, I guess maybe you'd go to the one in Austin and then you'd go to the one in Dallas and say, I went to whatever Tim's restaurant in both places.
Or the Rafa store. You want to show up and just check that box that you've been there.
But I think that with the Meteor, you're going to if you are someone that rides bikes and you like what we do for food and wine, those dots are connected, and you'll sit in a Meteor cafe and see someone with a Meteor hat on or a Meteor T-shirt or whatever, and there is community that's built through it because of the cycling, because of the active lifestyle, because of like the wine nerd. Yeah. So all of those, there's like a wine nerd.
There's a lot of overlap with the bike nerd and the wine nerd and the coffee nerd. Yeah.
Right. So but those people are going to be like, I know the coffee will be good there. So you'll see people, and I'm sure it will happen in Dallas too. I guarantee you, if you go visit and you sit there, if you're there for 2 days, you'll see someone from Austin or Bentonville. Yeah. And our hope is as we spread out, around the country, and maybe someday around the world,
Yeah.
that same sense of belonging and connection and community is there, because anyone that rides a bike or competes in like an endurance sport, there's a sense of commonality that
Yeah, and
I think
it's the weird suffering that we love, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's and then the piece of the coffee, or the coffee with the people you rode with after, or the beer or the taco or the glass of wine that comes after a really hard ride, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's, or the community you got from just starting, and like, I'm just starting to ride, tell me about it, and then the eyes of the person who's been at it for a long time lights up, like, oh, let me, it's so fun, let me tell you about this. And I think that it's a distinctive connectivity that I don't want to say there was intentionality about doing it, but
it's working,
and it surprises me
how powerful it is.
And it surprises me how profound it is, how powerful it is, because I think you feel part of something. And I think that's really, I don't want to say it's completely unexpected, but the level to which we found it is much higher than I would have anticipated.
And you're touching on my intro to the Meteor, which is that it almost immediately felt like a second home.
That's great. Yes.
Yeah.
And that was the idea. We wanted to be a place where you could show up. We wanted, in some way to be like the best pickup basketball court you've ever been to.
Yeah.
It's all your friends are there. Everyone plays. You know when to show up. And then imagine if you could have a great glass of wine after that.
Right.
So I think it's we wanted it to feel welcoming and unfussy from a service standpoint. We wanted it to feel like a place where cyclists could like hang their cap.
Yeah. Well, I think and what also I think you've nailed is how special the sort of the cyclists' bond is to their sport and their culture.
Right.
Culture is the word I was looking for. But then also there's something like cool and counterculture and just different about that I think is appealing to other people that aren't cyclists, where
That's right.
they're like, that's a cool ass funky cafe.
Right.
Interesting people hang out there. Like I'll go hang out there.
Well, and I think if I speak to my like junior cycling career, cycling has always had like a considered aesthetic. The design of a bicycle is beautiful, and it's in its simplicity and what happens. And it's gotten more complicated with whatever kind of shifting and all of those things, and where we run the cables, et cetera. But bicycles have and the aesthetic that goes with it, the jerseys and the fonts, the colors, it's always been beautiful. Right?
Yeah.
It's
and different.
It's always had its moments. And it's a sport that is, it's still incredible to watch a stage of the tour and watch somebody make it to the last kilometer and then blow up, and you're like, oh man,
get beat by the sprint at the
whatever it is. So I think that there's a real beauty in the stories that are told, during the Vuelta or Giro or Tour, and you watch them, it takes a long time. It's 4 or 5 hours, but you watch it play out, and it's really beautiful in like the chess match that's played, and even and frankly, like American criterium racing, same thing. An hour, it's more like speed chess.
Yeah.
But I think that there is that aesthetic is it's like watching football, pro sport, whatever.
Yeah.
The jerseys. Cycling is always considered the aesthetic. I think the design piece has always been further forward in cycling,
so important
than other other things. Like, does the kit look good? Is it baggy? How's it cut? All of that stuff is is considered. So I think that, and I would suggest that cycling historically, the athletes, at least in the United States, have usually been a lot more outsidery than whoever was the quarterback in high school.
The typical
right?
jock.
Yeah. So they might have been a bit more nerdy to begin with.
Yeah.
So I think that the rise of, if you want to say nerdiness, the rise of that design is considered, that people want to feel part of something that's like, loosely held, and that they want to feel like they're in the right place, that they're accepted, that it's welcoming. And I think that's another piece for us that's always been very important, is like, we're agnostic. We don't care what bike you ride.
Yeah.
As long as you want to try, we'd love to have you.
Yeah.
And I think that's another part of it that has always been, we've been about that since the beginning. So you may say our shop caters more to, racers, but we'll fix your tricycle wheel.
Yeah.
So I think that's, the people that work at the Meteor love bicycles.
Yeah, and they're good with people too.
And people, and they want,
not always the case.
Yeah, correct. And they want more people to get on bikes. They love what bikes do for our spirit, and I think that's the piece that, we can all say that we probably still remember the first time that we actually could ride a bike.
Yeah.
And we would probably all say we feel certain that we think it sets you free. So more of that.
Cheers.
Yeah, more of that. So I, it's and the wish to then have a place that it's celebrated, but is still, that is still welcoming of people that don't ride bikes.
Yeah, and
that maybe consider riding bikes.
And guess what? You can love bikes, and you can go to the Meteor, and the food and drinks are great. Yeah. Or you can not be that into bikes. You go to Meteor, the food and drinks and service are great.
And you can be a fan of natural wine, or you want a nice coffee, or you don't want to think about any of it. You just want it to be a nice experience.
Right.
That's what we want to offer, which is all of those things in one place. So, and I think when we first opened here, people were like, well, what are you? Are you a wine shop? Are you a cafe? Are you a bike shop? Or whatever? And they're like, no, we're the Meteor.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
That it's okay.
It's a new category.
It's a new right.
And so we're talking Dallas, which is opening essentially as we speak.
Right.
And other locations are slated, right?
Yes, other locations are slated, and I think nothing's open till it's open, but we should have. The premise is that Fayetteville is opening in the spring, and then we've got another. Let me see if I can do.
And
we have another 5 after that are slated.
So Fayetteville is what, like an hour from Bentonville, or less than
30 minutes.
30 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, so it's where University of Arkansas is. That one is in an old grain. I don't know what it's called. Not grain refinery. That's the wrong word, but whatever.
Granary. Yeah.
And backs up to the Razorback Greenway.
Okay.
Which is the trail that connects everything. But also a certainly distinctly different cycling community than Bentonville.
Right.
But also, World Cyclocross Championships were there. There's great gravel races there. Joe Martin's the stage race is based out of there. So it's got a long cycling, pedigree.
Awesome. And then there were 5 other. Did you say?
Yes. Wow. The other ones that Tucson, Philadelphia, DC, Miami, and Hoboken. Those are all kind of.
And not LA yet.
No, I'd like to get to LA. I think that we're looking at other places as well.
Yeah, and Hoboken sounds cool too.
Yeah,
right. Ride your bike outside of the city, and you got your destination.
Exactly. So I think that those are on the slate, and hopefully we can have all of those come into existence. I think by 2026 is kind of the idea.
Right.
So that
which is aggressive.
Yeah, it could be a little breathless, but the right things happen. It certainly can happen. So. And then we'll see.
Yeah.
Then we'll take it from there.
So you had a lot of success with Intelligentsia and growing the brand and selling the business, and that, I think that made an impact on food culture, and you were very instrumental in pioneering this sort of cafe culture. And you've started the Meteor, which is getting legs, and we've talked at length about why it's special. Intelligentsia is like a hard act to follow as far as building a successful business. How does the Meteor sort of compare to that? Do you have lofty, ambitious plans for the Meteor to go, global and be a recognized brand like Intelligentsia, or?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I think that the answer is that I think that what is, Intelligentsia came up at the same time as some other roasters that were that were similar.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to say La Colombe, Stumptown, Counterculture, Verve, the names.
Yeah.
And that market, again, if I said in, 1980, whatever, craft beer, you'd be like, how many could there be?
Yeah.
And if the answer is thousands, and same thing with, small roasters.
Yeah, the market share has exploded.
I mean, it's crazy how many people are competing in that business, right? So I think it becomes increasingly difficult to distinguish oneself, even if you are doing wonderful quality. I have some ideas on what I think will happen, but we'll see. And I think same thing in craft beer. I go look at that aisle at the grocery store and I think to myself, I have no idea how anybody can decide which one of these to buy.
Right.
So whatever, maybe other people can, and that's great. So I think that I actually have, I think what the coffee bar model is challenged by is that it has to be so busy for a coffee bar to be successful in today's environment. So busy. Just because the average sale is fairly low, right? So you're not selling a bottle of wine, you're not selling food, it's like coffee and a pastry.
Yeah.
And
then people hang out in the cafe for
and a bag of coffee. But I think it's really hard. And I also think there's so much, I don't want to say the competition may not be the right word. There's so many people doing it that inevitably it's going to diminish what is possible for each place to do, right? So I think that the Meteor from a brick and mortar proposition, as well as a brand, what we can sell online and all of those things, I think is operating currently there's not many people doing what we're doing that I can see.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm happy to be wrong, and I think that there maybe there are a bunch of places.
Yeah.
But I don't think there are many places that are boutique bike shop with well-vetted products and nice people working there, with a multiple of 100 bottle organic biodynamic wine shop.
Yeah. That
has no corkage if you want to consume it at the cafe, and unfussy counter service with ingredient-driven food, high quality ingredient-driven food. Real food.
Real good food.
And really well-executed coffee in one place.
Yeah.
And I think that it would be, and we have really great folks in the bike part, we have really great folks in the food part, we have really great folks in the coffee part, we have really great folks in the wine part that all care about those things. And I think that the people that are driving that in each one of those categories are really, really good at it. And I think that you could try and go out and hire those people and try and assemble it, but I think it would be hard. I think it would be hard to do well in each of those. Like you can be a great restaurateur, but those people don't really know coffee.
Yeah. Or bike shop.
Right, or bike shop. They know that they like to shop at bike shops.
Right.
So it's like, I feel like, I think we have a distinctive collection of things that will be hard for someone else to duplicate.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, and maybe someone's out there doing it, but I don't know who they are. And
does it scale with your, the heads of each of those disciplines, the bike shop, the food, the coffee, the wine program?
Yes.
Does it scale with those folks hiring other specialists that they've vetted in the other markets?
And I think that, you mentioned this before. I think that a huge part of it is building a culture that reveres each of those things. And reveres each of those things.
Well, the culture is here, and you guys are delivering on it.
And reveres each of those things as they relate to each other.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the piece. If we can pull that off, and that will be our biggest challenge as it grows, if we can pull that off and maintain the spirit that it has here and in Bentonville and Dallas, that we can maintain that cultural spirit that values each of those things and isn't just ticking a box for each of those things, but really loves each of those things, and each of those things is demonstratable to our guests and customers, then it will be something.
Well, here at the risk of naming other brands in this conversation, what we've been talking about this whole time, which you just touched on, is the culture and how the culture appreciates it and raises it up and makes it special in each of these cities.
Right.
And, some of the brands I love and Rafa's had an interesting trajectory where they opened up all these clubhouses that were really special when they opened, and maybe, maybe they're dialing that back a little bit. Maybe they haven't nailed every aspect of it. But another one is Deus Ex Machina, which has these incredible retail stores throughout the world, in LA and Japan and Australia. And if you're kind of a fan of that brand, it's a lifestyle thing. Like I want to, if I'm in Japan, I want to go to Deus Ex Machina, So I think you nailed it. If you're able to duplicate the Meteor experience elsewhere, the cyclists are going to unite, and they'll appreciate what you do, and then other people notice.
Yeah, I think that those brands are brands that I follow, and they've done good work.
Yeah.
Moto has that. Motorcycle has that. A similar. Communal vibe, like cycling. I think that the wine and being really good at that, and not just kind of phoning it in, if you will, and having real food is the piece that I think brings it all together.
Yeah.
I don't know that our concept would be successful if it was one without.
We haven't even talked about the economics.
Yeah, the various pieces. I don't know that it would be as compelling, right?
Yeah.
Without each of the pieces, that at first people are confused by why are they together, and I don't know if somebody else in coffee mentioned this. I don't know if there's a new New York Times game called Connections, where they give you like 16 words, and you try and they're 4 groups of 4. And the connections are always, they can be a little strange, or like it's like Egyptian artifacts, or whatever, or words that start with flap, or whatever.
Right.
So I think that the connectivity of the pieces of what the Meteor is wouldn't be, and also like this game, it wouldn't be instantaneously connectable to someone just standing outside of it.
Right. And it's you mentioned this before we started the interview, but it's hard to build a restaurant and then launch it and have all these pieces that work in concert and make money.
Right. But then once you walk in and and again, it's like me looking at this puzzle. You can look at the first time and be like, whoa, that's like 16 jumbled words that have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
And then like you look at it again and you're like, oh, I see what they're doing here.
Yeah.
Or what they're trying to do here. Or maybe they're inferring, they want me to infer this. And I think that the Meteor has always wanted to offer a bit of that, like come along and discover what we discovered and went, whoa, check this out.
Yeah.
And I think that it's some of that joy that can be discovered between coffee, bicycles, nice food, natural wine. All those things have that sense of place.
Pleasure, yeah.
Yeah, and it's I think that, again, I think those other brands are great, but I think having multi-dimensions to what you're doing.
There's more. You guys are doing more. Yeah.
Having multi-dimensions so it continues to be interesting.
Right.
So that you visit a lot.
And the let's say the merch changes over, the seasonal menu, the wine is always different.
That's right. So I think that, and the other piece too, with the way the bike shops are, I say that they're a lot less like typical bike shops, more like a cool surfer skate shop.
Yeah.
Kind of combined with an old school barber shop, because you can go in there and it's just like guys chatting.
Yeah.
And they'll come back and they'll go get a coffee and they'll come in like, what do you got? What's new today? So the regularity of visit for us, I think, is higher than most restaurants.
I've spent a lot of money with you guys,
yeah.
So yes, the regularity is high.
The regular visit seems to be. I'd love to tell you we've collected all this data. We haven't, but I see people all the time. So it has the regularity of like a coffee bar. But then we also sell food, and then I see people in the bike shop all the time. and
you're hitting me in every part of the wallet there.
I can, whatever. There's wonderful bike shops, but I would only go there when I like needed to get something fixed.
Totally.
Instead of like, oh, I wonder what they got now.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're doing a bit more of that. It is a bit more like lifestyle and fashion and fun and like, oh, I like the people that are there and all of those things. So I think that the multidimensionality of it makes it distinctive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes it attractive.
Couldn't agree more. And I think we've covered a lot. And I think this is a great point to start wrapping things up. I'm going to be asking most of my guests here this question or prompt, I should say rather, but you've done the entrepreneurial thing a number of times over, and yeah, I mean there are so many metaphors to bike racing, and I think it's just very powerful as far as entrepreneurship, from what I've gathered, that just kind of showing up and staying in the race is the point. Mm-hmm. It's why it's why you race. Winning is great, but ultimately it's the process that really is the most meaningful part of the experience. So do you have any sort of parallels or insights regarding entrepreneurship between bike racing and business?
Absolutely. I think that, I adore my business partner, Chris St. Peter, who I started the business with.
Yeah.
And he's very, very outstanding bike racer, whatever, won Texas State Championship. He's tough.
Okay.
He's tough.
When was that?
I don't know if this is 40 to 45, whatever.
Okay.
Some masters category.
All right.
Anyway, but he's tough.
Badass.
And was a wrestler in Wisconsin, so definitely a guy that can take a lot of punches.
Tough ass.
Yeah. So, he's a much better bike racer than me. Okay. Still trying to overcome my genetics. So I remember asking him about racing, and I said, and I think it could not be a more perfect parable for being an entrepreneur. And I said, is there ever a part in the race that's so hard that you want to quit? And he said, yes, every race. And I say, well, what do you tell yourself then? And he said, I say, this is the race. Mm-hmm. And it could not be more poignant for being an entrepreneur. Everyone can do the easy parts. The hard part, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That ability to endure when it seems almost impossible is what you have to get past. And I think it's not for everyone. It's hard.
Yeah.
And I think that part of the beauty of the Meteors you get to that gets expressed in we ride bikes, we know what the suffering's like, we know how hard it can be, we know all of those things. But the parable for being an entrepreneur is it could not be more exact.
Yeah.
Just the easy parts, we can all do that.
Yeah.
Right? That's fun, and I'm going to do the thing I like, and all of those things. But the ability to spin the multiple plates, the ability to if you want to say suffer and endure, with the confidence that investment is worth it to come out on the other side and win the race, have it be glorious. It takes a lot of fortitude to realize that,
and faith, right?
And faith. I think you have to. But there is. I'm incredibly fortunate that all of the things coalesced for intelligentsia to happen. And I also have the I'd say the fortunate piece that my parents did what they had to do, and I'm stealing this from Lyle Lovett.
Okay.
He really said this at a concert. I was just like, whoa, you are so right about this. He said, my parents did what they had to do so I could do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I always had this, I'm like, yeah, if this totally doesn't work, I can like go camp out in their basement.
Yeah.
So I had that, if you wanted to call that confidence with intelligence.
Backstop.
Yeah. So, their hustle allowed me to do what I got to do. So maybe they'll listen. Maybe my mom will listen to this.
Send it to them.
Yeah. So, and I think that intelligentsia taught me that everyone else can open up down the street, whatever, XYZ, there's a spot down the street from our first location where I feel like every coffee company opened a store and closed a store.
Wow.
Whatever.
That must have been satisfying.
I'm probably exaggerating, but each time we're like, oh shit, here it goes again.
Bottom's falling out.
Yeah, but they all closed.
Crazy.
So you realize that the competition, they're going to do what they're going to do. Just like in a race, there's not much you can do about that guy who's got the Stars and Stripes jersey.
But he's also hurting.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the competition's you and how much you can endure, right? Yeah. Because they're going to do whatever they're going to do, and I think that there is a certain level of confidence that you develop after you've been through it, after you've sailed so many rough seas, to again sound cliche, that we're going to make it to the other side. We're going to figure this out.
Yeah.
And there's a point where you say we're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And you have to be comfortable with the idea that it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I think what we touched on with the Meteor is almost like the probing for what it is.
Yeah.
And then once you start to have the notion of hey, this really multifaceted, restaurant and retail concept, it really is a meaningful whole when you put everything together. That's where the conviction comes in, right? And then
right. And then this realization that the effort is worth it.
Yeah.
Right? I think
that's important.
That's the way that we built Intelligentsia too. There were 14-hour car rides over the Andes to get coffee. There were, there was a story. I remember we were in Brazil and the guy's like, yeah, we're going to drive out to the coffee field. And it was we were in a car and his car broke down. And he's like, we'll just take a cab. And I'm like, okay, cool. It must not be far. And it was 5 of us smushed in the backseat of a cab for 8 hours to go to go see these coffee producers. And it was worth it every time. Yeah. So I think that people don't believe it's worth it.
I think that's a great insight.
And my experience is that it always is.
Yeah.
And
you have to find that gear, that moment in the race where you don't want to push anymore.
Well, and I think that there's so many gatekeepers in today's society too. It's you're trying to get this thing and no, but you have to realize that the reason people are where they are is because they figured out how to get around those gatekeepers or over those hurdles.
It's been done.
It's been done.
Yeah.
And also sometimes maybe it hasn't been done, but that doesn't mean that it can't be.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that successful entrepreneurs really believe is if I put this effort in, it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
And in a bicycle race, the guys that are going to try and win. Yeah. And it's not going to be easy. Right. They could calculate and try and figure out and wait for the sprint, or they're going to go for it. Yeah. And they might get caught before they make it to the line, but next time they're going to win. Right. So it's a lot of that same, it's going to hurt. Learning a thing or two and coming back. Yeah. And it's going to hurt. There's no, it's there's no way. I try and have this conversation with my daughter, and she rolls her eyes. I'm just telling you. You can send her the podcast too. I'm just telling you, if you want it to be worth something, it's gonna hurt. Yeah. It's not. You're not just gonna waltz in that was great, it's super easy. Yeah. That doesn't happen. Yeah. They are correlated. Yeah, and just inextricably. Yeah, and realize the effort is. You have to trust that it's going to be worth it. And my fortunate experience is that. It's paid off, yeah. And not just in the dollars, but in the experience for you. Yeah, I think that the dollars. I would say that most entrepreneurs are the dollars come. That's fine, but they did it because they dug it. They were after a into thing. It. Yeah. And to me, to walk into a Meteor and see happy people. Whether it's at the bike shop or getting coffee, it's so satisfying. I kind of accidentally got into, if you want to call this hospitality. It's really satisfying. And then it's really satisfying to see the community that's built. So, does it need to be economically viable? Does your business need to be economically viable to offer healthcare or, whatever benefits that build as you're more capable? It does. Yeah. It's not magic. So, you have to be able to run a business. I think I said to some of you, you have to be very busy, and you have to be a good operator.
Yeah.
You can't be one or the other.
Yeah.
You know, so it's you have to be doing all of it right. But I think caring about the right things and getting the pieces right will lead to the economic viability.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you have to make sensible decisions. But I also think being on your own timeline helps. All of those things help, so you can get a better look at it. So for me in this round versus intelligentsia, I think that I have a bit more. It's a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
It's a lot more comfortable, and we can look at each thing. But that doesn't mean there's not nervous days.
Yeah.
There's always nervous days.
Yeah, and you had COVID, you had shutting down Little Rock, so
yeah.
It's not all.
No, it's right, but that's it. Is you and you can make mistakes if you learn from them and move decisively.
Yeah. All right. Well, Doug Zell of the Meteor and Allied Bike Works, right?
Allied Cycle Works.
Cycle Works.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I mean, this has been an incredible conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.